And hello out there, friends. Once again, your internet friend, Jersey Joe, back with you for another special live edition of Kicking Back with Jersey Joe. Thank you so very much for dialing me up, those of you watching live, and those of you watching the rebroadcast on YouTube, Instagram TV, and now on TikTok. Look, times are tough in the world right now. We all need some positivity. So let's do a live astrology reading right now. Doesn't that sound great? All right, here we go. We got the hair healer joining me now live from Westchester, Pennsylvania. She's a hairdresser by day, but she's an astrologist by night. Well, and pretty much the rest of her free time, too. Good old friend Colleen Dixon. Haven't talked to you for years. Colleen, welcome to the show. And I guess you got some good news and some positivity to share with everyone right now, right?
I have a lot. I'm ready to help raise the vibe of the collective, and let's go. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
And Colleen, she hosts her own podcast, the Hair Healer Podcast. You can find that wherever you download podcasts and also on her YouTube channel. But Colleen, I'm going to ask you something that you recently mentioned on one of your podcasts, this whole coronavirus outbreak thing. It's a tough time for a lot of people in the world. And right now, we just want to feel good. And you're saying that actually this whole situation is kind of like a spiritual or life reset? What does that mean?
Okay, that's good. I'm happy that you listen to my podcast. First of all, that's exciting. But so a lot of times, right, we're collectively, right, a lot of us have been going along life blindly, right? Going along life, as they say, as like the hamster wheel, right? Like just doing this human experience, what we're taught, and really we are spiritual beings. So a lot of this has shaken us, has broken us down to basically we're left here with nothing else but ourselves, our soul, our spirit, and that's all we're left to trust, believe, and work on. Does that make sense?
That's interesting because it really is like somebody pressing Control Alt Delete on not just their own life, but the whole world itself, right?
The whole world, because it was burning up, and I think we were all separating so much, and there was so much. If you just look, hate and pain, and people forget that we're all in this together. We're all together, and so we need to okay, well, let's break things up, right? The Mother Earth, the spirit, let's break things up, and that's really make people go down to what life really is about, right? And that's our spirit, that's the people we love, that's our energy, that's really what it's about, and to gain faith.
Interesting. All right, I have to ask this. So people really want to feel good right now. I know I want to feel good. Watching the news, it's just negative, negative, negative. So my birthday is April 6th. It's coming up. So can you give me a prediction for me and then one for everybody else out there watching too? What can we all look forward to?
Well, prediction-wise, I didn't look into your chart that much to make a prediction, but for everyone else. But what I can tell you of what I know internally is what it's going to have is a much better world, a world that is much more accepting. I think it's going to even out the playing field for a lot of things, just socially, economically. I think people are going to be happier. People are going to accept people and allow them to be who they are. There's going to be less judgments. So in the end, it's going to be a much happier, freer place. And I think what we all want and what is the main source of so much unhappiness is people cannot be who they are. They can't love who they want to love and be whatever religion they want to do and do whatever makes them happy. And that causes this constraint. So at the end, I think this is breaking so much down, teaches us what life is really allowed, to be. And we're going to be much happier 6 months down the road. Maybe sooner or later. I don't know. I mean, we're happy. We have to be happy in this moment, though. We have to learn, if we want anything great, we have to learn to be grateful and be happy in this current moment, no matter what the outside circumstances are.
So how do you use astrological signs to make a prediction and read kind of like where things are going? How does that exactly work?
Okay, so it's not necessarily the sign per se, as you know, like sun sign is like I'm a Gemini and you're an Aries. It's more so it's the planets, right? It's the entire chart. Okay, imagine the chart so there's 12 houses, okay, and it's a spinning tarot wheel almost, and then it stops, okay, and each of those places, each of those tarot wheels tells us currently what's going on in the world and what planet's there and what sign it's in, so it's a very complex language.
Do they constantly spin in circles, or can it go off into a random tangent? Like, do things keep coming around full circle, or is the future...
No, it doesn't stop, so it goes into primary motion and secondary motion, right? One is, so as a rising sign, it rises in the east, sets in the west. And it starts at the first house and then sets at the seventh house. And then underneath though, but the planets of the chart goes secondary underneath, and that's more of our fortune. That's a whole other conversation though. That'll be longer than 10 minutes.
So after we go through this reset with this whole coronavirus thing going on, do you think that we're in for a long-term field of prosperity, or do you feel it's going to be a rough patch for a while and then get better? Like, what happens after this reset?
Well, I mean, I think that it's a mindset, right? I mean, everything it can be, you can look at anything in a positive or negative light, but I think this year is going to be rough. It's not going to, I think that the coronavirus just started, right? It just like started breaking things down. And what you're going to see is, I think, this is just my own opinion, right? People that are high up, the 1%, you're going to start to see them having to share and having to give out, which they don't want to do. I think you're going to see people who had a lot of false narratives there to begin with, or not maybe doing a more practicing in a positive light. They're going to crash out. You're going to see celebrity. You're just going to see a bunch of, right, fake and people who are not, I hate to say the word fake, but disingenuous. You're going to see that start to come down, right? So there's going to be a lot of visions of that, and that's going to bring a lot of energy and negativity in some ways. But you got to pay attention to the light, because you're going to see a lot of very people rising, right, who are genuine, who really want to raise the consciousness of the world, the planet.
So what got you into astrology, and how long have you been reading these signs and like been into this type of thing?
Well, good question, Joe. I don't know if you know this about me, even though you know me my whole life, but I share about it. I have ADHD. So growing up where we grew up, they definitely did not know that as a little girl, especially to have it. So I learned to pay attention to people because I couldn't pay attention to schoolwork or anything else, or teachers. So I'd pay attention to their energy and their actions. And then I started to, at a young age, realize that I could attach that to these signs. And at first it was very generic, and then it just grew and it just grew and it grew from there. And so the last couple of years, I really started to dive into it and dive into myself. And I started to get a mentor. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready to take this to the next, level. I'm ready to be an astrologer. This is like a calling for mine. This is a language I speak, and it's a form of energy I speak. So that's when I started school about 6 months ago.
On one of your podcasts, you were burning incense around the salon where you work at.
Sage.
Sage. Okay. What's the significance to that? And does that work if, say, I don't have sage here in the apartment, but I do have a candle lit? Could that work too? And what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think because it's the power of attention, right? As far as your candle, right? Intention, we're putting that intention from our mind, creating emotion, and that creates that energy, and that brings it back to us. So yes, you could have anything. You could have a white candle. You can write. If you're looking at it, you could have just a blue candle, I don't know, and you're looking at it and you set that intention, like, I want to clear negativity around me, around this home, and you like that, you are going to set that intention. Sage is a type of herb that there's some, I guess, scientific proof. I see the memes, but it's hard to say if that's really true or not, that it actually does like burn up bacteria. But basically it's used, and it's used in a lot of shamans use it, Native American practices, all kind of ancient religions use it in a way as cleansing the energy, right? They say that the smoke and the stuff that comes from that cleanses it. And again, when you do that, you think of positive things again, or not just positive, like a lot of times when I do it, or I do it with my children, I envision like a lot of anything dark or anything dark energy that's laying on them, like leaving, and positive coming out. It smells delicious too.
So, okay, a candle does work, but those trick birthday candles throw this whole situation off. I guess you don't want to do that. But, as you said, bringing the light is positivity. So what are your tips to offer someone to remain positive?
Don't watch the news. Number one, don't watch the news. Everything that goes, even if you are just not barely reading it, seeing a little bit, that is going to your mind. And then that's the reality you create. Your reality right now is your thoughts manifested, right? So number one, stay away from that. It's poison. I always say to myself, I'm taking the precautions I need, and I'm social distancing, but I'm also not allowing myself to even really think about it. It's not on my level. I think to myself, I'm not getting it. I'm not thinking about it. It's not on my vibration. But I know people that are just consumed, you're just going to instantly think negative, and it's just going to lower your vibe.
So even if we have if you lose your job from this coronavirus thing, or, there's a death in the family, you're saying basically forget the negative thoughts, just focus on those positive thoughts, and that's a way to get dug out of the situation?
Well, I think that's a simple way to put it, right? Not to limit the death. Okay, that's a hard part. That's a hard part of life. But losing your job, so I'm not working currently, so I'm the perfect example of this. I'm not getting any income. I just filed for unemployment the first time in my life, nothing, don't know when I'm going to reopen. But why am I going to stay in that thought process, right? Nothing good will ever come from me every day dwelling on not working, not making money, not having an income. It will only make situations worse and I won't move forward versus if I think positively. And it's a mental workout. It does not come easy at times like this. At least it's not going to get any worse, but most likely it will get better because it will help bring solutions.
Final thoughts, Colleen. So what could you say, basically, what if you wanted somebody to have one takeaway from this show that we're doing right now, what would it be?
Trust, believe, right? This is all part of our path that we will be okay at the end of all of this. And just do right now, we're powerless over everything that's going on outside of ourselves. We cannot control it. So what you can control is your spirit, is your soul. Take this time to work on all of that stuff on the inside. Work on your family, but more importantly, work on yourself, because when's the next time we're going to get allowed to have all this time to actually work on ourselves?
She's a hair healer with live thoughts right there from the internet here. Thank you very much for joining me live here on the big broadcast. And you guys want to see more fun like that, you click that like and subscribe button down below for all the 4 big shows right here on the Jersey Joe 50 YouTube channel, including my brand new game show, Captures to Spin the Win, where I'm giving away Amazon gift cards for dropping the funniest lines. You want to talk about funny? That's it. So there you go. And you never know what we'll see in the show here. I love having these live guests, Colleen. Thank you so very much for being part of the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And those of you watching out there, thank you very much for joining the show, and I'll see you next time, I hope.